my name is Cristel Sobrio, a graduate in Hotel and Restaurant Management at Joji Ilagan Career Center Foundation College of Business and Tourism. I graduated last June 2017. And today, I will be showing you one of the things that I love to do at home. And that is hand stitching. Hand stitching have many uses. But because before sewing machine, we use hand stitch for garment making or our clothing making. And up until now, hand stitching is still very useful. And I have here 6 basic hand stitches. First is a running stitch. A running stitch is one of the stitch that we usually see or we usually used. Pag may mga napupunit po na mga damit, ito po usually natin ginagamit po, di ba? Running stitch. Second is the back stitch. A back stitch is an imitation of sewing machine. It's kind of like this finish. Kind of like you're doing or like you're using a sewing machine. Back stitch. Next is a chain stitch. A stitch is a stitch in which are embroidered like a chain. Kind of like this. We usually see this sa mga sako ng bigas or sa sako ng flour or mga sako na may mga laman. Next is herringbone stitch. Herringbone stitch is used for a flat finish next to fabric. Kind of like a cross stitch, pero nakikita po natin to sa mga sa parang likod po ng fabric or like mga damit. Next is a blanket stitch. And we usually see this on the edges of the blankets. Next, the last but not the least is the cross stitch. It is the X-shaped stitch in a tile that use X shape to create an image. So may mga nakikita po tayo, we see usually a cross stitch po in a frame because it's kind of like an artwork and they do patterns to make an image out of a cross stitch. So I have here some examples that I made just earlier for you to see. So I wrote letters of my name. First is letter C. I used the herringbone stitch inside and a back stitch on the outline. The gray is the herringbone and the gray is the back stitch and the green one is the herringbone stitch. Next is the letter R. I used a back stitch on the outline and as a running stitch po sa inside. Next is the letter I. I used a blanket stitch. Hindi po siya nakikita pero dalawang blanket stitch po siya. Next is letter S. It's a chain stitch po. Chain stitch. And for letter T, I used only back stitch. For letter E, I only used running stitch. And for letter L, I used a cross stitch. I also have here an example of a cross stitch. So if you have a pattern, you can make anything you want out by using only hand stitching. So hand stitching is also for someone who loves to do art, and they can do it with a pattern, or they can draw, and they can use some of these basic hand stitches. And I hope you learned something from what I am discussing or showing you, and that's it. Thank you. Sakit sa mata?